Everyone, Lori here, and today I want to talk about tapping into your intuition, your gut instinct. Sometimes it's hard to tell what you're supposed to do, or if it's your gut instinct, or if it's fear talking. And I have a lot of experience with this, and I just want to dive right in. And one of the first ways to start noticing your intuition is by creating a quiet space for yourself so that you're in the present moment so you can hear the messages that are maybe or the feelings that are coming to you. Like recently I had a trip planned for St. Louis, and I really wasn't sure. I was kind of feeling a little off about it, like I don't know if I really should go, but then other things were positive that were encouraging me to go. So I was confused about it, and I kept asking, can you guide me? Can you show me what I'm supposed to do? What decision am I supposed to make? Because I already had my hotel book, my airplane tickets, which I would have only gotten a credit for, not a refund, and a car reserved. And I wasn't sure if I was going to get a refund on my hotel or my car. So I don't know, but I was just having this intuition. And all of a sudden, all this stuff started happening. Like my horse jumped on me, and his hoof slid down my ankle, and it was swelling and it looked horrible. And it still does. It's getting better, but and then I was just kind of ignoring that, and then one of my family members needed me pretty extensively and was a little concerned about me going out of town because they needed me, and my family comes first. Then if that wasn't enough, I got bit by a tick, and I was concerned because I didn't get the head out, and so I was afraid I was going to get sick while I was in St. Louis. And yeah, I don't know, and it's some other things, just bizarre things were happening. And so I had to really stop and say, like, am I not supposed to go on this trip? I had three different people tell me, are you sure you're supposed to go on this trip? But then as an offset, other things were happening that were good and fun. And I was supposed to meet 10 of my high school friends, and we were all going to hang out and tour the school and just have fun and hang out by the pool and go to dinner and things like that. So I was just had these mixed feelings, and just getting quiet and silent and setting the intention of, or asking, "Hey, am I supposed to do this?" But I still wasn't getting a solid answer. And those are the times that I find the hardest, is when it's just not really clear. It can seems like it can go either way. So, if you do get a gut instinct about it, listen to it and follow it, because whether you call it God, the universe, angels, your intuition knows this. Because if you're walking, especially as a woman, you're walking through the woods and you get this eerie feeling that somebody's watching you, we're tuned into these things. It's a survival technique. So making sure that, you tap in and you try to listen to this. And if you're just have no idea what I'm even talking about, really doing some kind of meditation, a daily practice is great. I don't do every day. I probably should, but this I do it often, and it kind of just connects you to yourself so that you're quiet and you can hear things. So stillness is really important to be able to hear, and being present in the moment, not thinking about all the worries of the past or concerns about the future. Being in the present moment. Hey, I'm tuned in, I'm listening. I even did an exercise where I felt how would I feel? I imagined myself driving in St. Louis down the road, and all of a sudden I got all this anxiety. But then I pulled myself out of that feeling, and I thought, okay, how would I feel if I just stay home? And I got this feeling of relief. Now, where this would be different is if you have a fear of leaving your home, then that's outside your comfort zone, and you're going to feel anxiety when you get outside your comfort zone. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about my comfort zone is traveling. I love to travel. I'll travel with friends, I'll travel alone, it doesn't matter. And it's tapping into that intuition, like I said, when you're in the woods alone and you feel something's off, or let's say in a dark parking lot, which I would avoid anyway, but just tapping in. You need to be in the present moment to be able to do that and to stop and to be quiet and calm. So, and that's called practicing mindfulness, and with the meditation and being present. This is just really important, and it's, like I said, important to listen. Sometimes journaling is a real important technique. When I was writing my book, I'm an author, and I wrote this scene out of nowhere, and my fingers were just flying, and the words were coming, which is not unusual for me because uh, sometimes my books practically write themselves, and sometimes they don't. But so that's not unusual. But what was unusual is after I wrote this whole scene, I went back and reread it, and I barely even remembered writing it. And again, that's not always unusual either, because it's kind of like a runner's high. It's like a writer's high, and you get into it. But what was unusual was the amount of stress and anxiety and agitation I felt after I read this. Like, where is that coming from? And I asked my mom about it. I mentioned it to her. She told me, tell me about it. What was the scene?" And so I described it to her, and she said, "Lori," she said, "that is exactly what happened when I was in the 3rd grade and my father walked out on us." I have no memory of that. I still don't have a memory of it, even though I wrote about it. And it doesn't feel familiar to me because I don't remember it, but my subconscious remembers it. So automatic writing can help you tap into your innermost feelings, so that you might be able to get some insight as to what your gut instinct is telling you if you aren't recognizing it. So again, I sometimes have a problem with when it's borderline, when it goes either way. So that is when the exercise comes in handy, when you tap in like you're there. Or I tell my daughter when she is eating, when we're at a restaurant, she doesn't know what to order. I tell her, just imagine eating your food. Imagine you eating the tacos. Imagine you eating the burrito. Well, which one are you enjoying more? And that just seems to work. I don't know. So, in again, seeking solitude, try to find a quiet place so you can tap into your feelings. If you have kids running around, dogs barking, it's going to be really hard to tap into that because you're distracted. So just trying to set aside a quiet place so that you can actually reflect and kind of try to decipher what your gut instinct is telling you, and don't let people tell you that it's not a real thing. And I know, like, some men will tell you, "Oh, don't follow your instinct, don't follow your heart. You need to follow the logistics that are in your brain." And that may be, and it may be a female thing. I believe that females do have a very protective instinct over their young, and I just believe that men and women are somewhat different in this area. But I'm not saying that men don't have gut instincts, because I do believe they do. I just believe that some of them may not be tapped into it as much as maybe that I am. And here's another example. My mom is older, and we were going to go kayaking on the river. She hadn't been kayaking in a while, and she doesn't know how to swim, but we wear life jackets, so that's not usually a big issue. But it was the first time for the season. I got my kayaks out. I had trouble getting them up on top of the car because she just couldn't really help me. But I had trouble with the ratchets and tying them down because I didn't remember how to do it, because it was the first time of the season. Uh, it was just seemed like one frustration after another. I wasn't listening. Then I went back in to get our little cooler with our lunch and our water in it. I couldn't find it. I have no idea where I put it after I packed it. And I started just getting more frustrated and more frustrated. Then I went back outside, and before we were getting ready to leave, the wind picked up. I don't know if you've ever kayaked on a river before, but when it's breezy, it just is, you're fighting this resistance, and you're already, if you're going down and coming back, you're already fighting the current. And then if you're fighting the breeze on top of it, I thought, yeah, maybe, I joked around, maybe we're just not supposed to do this. And, and I kind of joke about it, poo poo it, because when somebody's actually involved in my decisions, I feel responsible for them, and they had it in their heart to go kayaking, and I didn't want to disappoint them. So anyway, I pushed myself. I tightened my kayaks one last time. We got in the car. We're driving down the highway. It's a 4-lane divided highway. And I hear this little noise, and my mom's like, "Hey, Lori, what's that noise?" And I told her, I said, "Oh, that's normal. That's just the straps flapping around." I looked up through my sunroof. My kayaks looked fine. The one is kind of right above my sunroof, and everything looked fine. But then all of a sudden, I heard a loud noise that was not normal. I looked back up in my sunroof, and my kayak was missing. And I kind of screeched, and she asked me, "What's wrong?" And I turned and I looked outside the driver's side window, and the kayak is hanging there. So that means it's only hanging from one J hook, not two, and like it's supposed to be, which would have been strapped right above me. And then all of a sudden it went whoomp, flew off my car. Thankfully, it was a 55 mile an hour zone. Since I had kayaks on my car, I was going maybe 45 or 50. I was in the fast turning lane because I was getting ready to turn at the stoplight. So I was going a little bit slower, and thankfully nobody was behind me. I pulled over, and to my delight, the kayak had landed on the inside shoulder. Nobody was behind me again. Like, that was just a relief, because this could have just been a horrible incident. I had not listened to my gut instinct up until this point, and it just kept getting louder and louder and louder and louder. Obviously, I realized we were not supposed to do this. Thankfully, some older gentleman, he was probably 74, helped. He pulled over. Again, he had to help me get the kayaks up, because neither one of them could have done that. And he told me that my kayak rack was broken, but we were able to secure it enough for me to get home. I get it back in the car. My mom asked me, "Well, do you still want to go since it's tight on there?" No, I don't. I am listening this time, because obviously we are not supposed to go. You could say that the universe, the angels, God, whatever, pull that kayak off my car to get my attention. I believe in this. I believe in faith like that. And so anyway, we turned around and went home. By this time, I'm shaking, I'm exhausted, I'm frustrated. And instead of pulling the kayaks all the way off my car, I sat down and we had a glass of lemonade before I just had to regroup before I could do this again and dismantle everything. So this is a real good example of listening to your intuition the first time or second time or third time, because it will escalate, and hopefully you won't lose a kayak in the middle of the highway. Anyway, it could have been way worse, I understand, but so pay attention to your dreams too, because your dreams are important. I have weird dreams all the time when I feel like I get messages from my dreams. And the joke in my family is, if Lori dreams about you, that kind of just freaks them out. But my daughter and I were in Cancun. We wanted to go downtown Cancun and go shopping at this market, but part of it is an indoor market. I was worried because my daughter's younger, she's beautiful. You hear all these stories. The men at the staff, the male staff members were telling us, "Oh, it's fine, go ahead and go." But we were going to catch the public transport and go downtown, which I was fine with that part. But it was a walking 10 minutes on these side streets. And then once you enter the market, it's this maze inside. Just kind of, once you're in it, you're way in there. And if it, I don't know, just kind of made me unnerve me. And I did have an incident there lightly one time. So, um, my intuition was telling me no. My daughter really wanted to go. I didn't want to disappoint her again. But my dream, this is something to listen to, because my dream, I had this dream that this man had this black silk mask on, he walked up to me and he had this cloth and it had some kind of chemical on it and he pushed it into my face and I drifted off. I was still aware, but I had passed out. This was a nightmare, and I woke up just shaking and full of fear, and I thought, "I need to listen to this." Now, I'm not talking about you're already afraid to go outside or you're afraid to be adventurous, and then that would be outside your comfort zone anyway. So, but I'm talking about if you like to do these kinds of things and you're getting a distinct warning like that man putting that chemical cloth on my face, that's a warning. And so when my daughter woke up, I told her, I said, we're not going today. And she's like, yeah, I woke up. I'm not feeling like going either, which was a miracle because she had really looked forward to it. So listening and tapping into what your gut instinct is telling you and making the quiet space enough to tap into that and be aware of it. So if this video has helped you, my motivation is to help people. I love helping people through my books, through my writing, through videos, any way that I can. And if this video helped you, please like and subscribe it so you can get more content like this. And I love seeing comments. So if this helped you in any way, please put a comment in there and let me know how it helped you because that will make my day. I hope that you have an awesome rest of your day and that this has helped you tap into your intuition. So until next time.